This is a picture, allegedly this is a picture of him, and this is him being taken away. Now there's unconfirmed reports of a second attack taking place as well.
And I was feeling unsafe. I literally told him, listen man, I don't feel safe here. So what I did is I started getting away from crowded areas. Christmas will never feel safe again for Germans. Heck, I don't feel safe at Christmas in Germany.
This just happened in Germany. A man plows through people at a Christmas market. Now allegedly there's 34 dead, including 4 children already, as a result of this terrorist attack. A man was arrested and he's 50 years old and he's from Saudi Arabia. And this is a picture, allegedly this is a picture of him, and this is him being taken away. Now there's unconfirmed reports of a second attack taking place as well.
A Muslim man in his 50s, apparently a doctor, who's been living in Germany since 2005. I'm not so sure about the identity, but that's what we know so far. Have just drove his car through the Christmas market in a town called Magdeburg. I hope I said the name right. Killing innocent civilians, women, men, and children. Apparently, in the beginning, they said it was only 1, and then it went to 11. Now it's over 20. There's over 80 people injured. My prayers are with the families and the victims of this horrific terrorist attack that happened right now in Germany. This is not the first time that a Muslim have decided to go and kill people in Germany during Christmas. I'm supposed to take my kid to a Christmas market tomorrow, and I don't really feel like I want to do it. I'll be honest with you, I felt safer going to missions behind enemy lines when I was in the special forces than going to a Christmas market. Every time I'm in a Christmas market, I have goosebumps. My spider senses are going all crazy. I'm looking all over the place. I'm looking to see if there's any peaceful, violent, radical Muslim doctor who just might decide one morning he want to connect back to his Islamic roots and go Allahu Akbar on everybody in the market. The thing is, for someone like me in Germany, there's 2 reasons why I don't feel safe in these Christmas markets. The first reason is because, like I said, these radical Muslims that might decide they want to come in just a rampage of killing everyone. The second reason is I'm an Arab. I'm a Middle Eastern. I look like an Arab. So on top of fearing other Arabs that might just go Allahu Akbar on everybody, I need to also fear the police because they're looking at me weird all the time. And I don't blame them. I mean, 99% of the terrorist attacks that are happening in the world are happening under Islam, from Muslim people, from migrants that moved into the West. But what it does, it makes the peaceful Arab, like myself and others, suffer twice from this, being afraid of the radical Arabs that Europe just welcomed with open arms. This guy apparently lived in Germany since 2005. He was a doctor. You know what's crazy? Just yesterday, I made a video about a case with a doctor in Israel that decided out of nowhere to recruit himself into ISIS. He was not even recruited. He recruited himself into ISIS and was planning on poisoning people and doing terrible stuff to his patients. Watch this video. Watch the video that I've made and let's talk about it. All right, you gotta watch this video. Muslim doctor turned ISIS. He was not even recruited. He recruited himself.
This video teaching how to poison people was found on Dr. Mohammed Azim's phone by Southern District detectives. Dr. Azim was recently an intern in Soroka's internal medicine department. He treated many, but an investigation revealed he was an ISIS terrorist behind the white coat. He not only...
The main difference is that in Israel, they usually catch it before it happened. In Europe, they usually catch it. They don't even catch it after it happened. Usually these terrorists, once they do something like this, they get to just run, and sometimes it takes them days until they catch them. Europe is so not ready for an intifada revolution. Not like these ridiculous leftist students that are keep calling that they want intifada revolution. You want intifada revolution? This is intifada revolution, guys. That's how it is. Let's keep watching.
He not only consumed violent ISIS content, but also learned to make explosives and poison people. At war's start, I was affected by deaths. I felt compelled to watch ISIS videos, becoming obsessive. Investigators were shocked when they opened his phone. They found numerous graphic images of attacks and videos. ISIS videos, including tutorials on making explosives, were on his phone. Investigators also found poison-making guides. At this point, fearing he might act, police raided the hospital and arrested him. They filed serious charges for terrorist organization membership after he swore allegiance to ISIS.
And then they call you an Islamophobe. Why are you worried to have a Muslim doctor? Well, you know what? This doesn't happen with Jewish doctors. This doesn't happen with Christian doctors. What are they gonna do? Wish you happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas? But for some reason, it's always with the Muslims. Now, I'm not saying all Muslims, absolutely not, but the problem is that 99.999999999% is happening under Islam. And that is a problem. And the bigger problem is that Islam is not condemning it. And the even bigger problem is that the Western, the Christians, are protecting it and calling you an Islamophobe when you are worried because this doctor could have been your Uber driver, could have been your school teacher, could have been the kindergarten teacher, could have been your Uber Eats delivery boy into your house. You don't know. They recruit themselves into ISIS because ISIS ideology is not that much different than original Quran ideology. That's why it's so easy to connect the dots, and someone who just want to do that will just read it and say, you know what? I'm gonna have to do what is right in my religion, and that is kill all the infidels. And all the infidels, the category for infidels under Islam goes basically to anyone who is not Muslim. And the only ones who you don't have to force to convert to Islam are the Jews and the Christians, but on them you will put a lot of restrictions to make their life miserable. But in general, there's a different verse for that. There is literally a verse where the rock is even calling the dear Muslim, ya Habibi, ya dear, come here, the Jewish hiding under me. Take the rock out and kill him. The tree will report him. Long story short, it is very easy for a Muslim person to get radicalized. And that is something that should concern people in the West. So you might call me an Islamophobe. I don't care. I'm an Arab myself, you numbskulls. But long story short is, yes, you have the reason to be worried. You have a reason to be worried 100%. This doctor could have poisoned, maybe he did. You know, the amount of damage that this man might have done, thank God he was caught in time, it's immeasurable. Yep, I am so fed up sitting with Europeans friends, with German friends, and trying to literally warn them about radical Islam, about Islam. They have no idea what Islam is. And then they make me feel uncomfortable, as if I'm the bad guy, as if something is wrong with me. Some of them even go far and call me racist. Some of them go far and call me an Islamophobe. I mean, how ridiculous that is, guys. When will you wake up? Seriously, it's becoming unsafe for Germans to go to Christmas markets in Germany. Your way of life is becoming in danger. And you know what? When you see these guys, you know, all these guys shouting Allahu Akbar. If you watch this video about the Habibi girl, this is hilarious.
Habibi, come to Germany!
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
And then you have them driving with their cars, with their flags. You see, when Muslim people are going in the streets of Christian countries, chanting Allahu Akbar in the subways, in the streets, it is a sign of force. It is a sign of we don't give an F about your culture. We are here, we are strongly, we can do whatever we want. For them, that's how they read. Because if you would go to a Muslim country as a Christian, you start chanting Jesus Christ or Merry Christmas in the streets of Gaza, in the streets of Lebanon or Syria, you will get killed. He will get beat the crap out of you because they'll look at you like, who is this guy think he is? This is a Muslim country. You don't come to my country and do that. We've just seen that happening in Turkey and other places where they're attacking Christians because they dare to celebrate Christmas. So when they have this terminology, when this is the language that they speak, and then they come to your countries and they feel so empowered to go with Allahu Akbar, and then they look at the Europeans who address that as if like, oh, this is so beautiful. This is a culture diversity. Look at them. They feel safe to say Allahu Akbar in our streets. That's beautiful. No, that's not beautiful, guys. That's an invasion. They don't feel safe. They feel empowered, and they feel that you guys are being pathetic enough to believe them so they can do whatever they want. For them, this is literally how they will talk to their friends. You know what? In Germany, I own this place. I drive my cars. I shout Allahu Akbar. No one talks to me. That's how the Arab world perceives that. And I'm telling you this as an Arab. It breaks my heart again because I live in Germany. I live in Europe. And I loved and admired about Europe, about how safe and peaceful Europe was until you guys allowed this open border policy for immigrations to come without filtering and checking who is a terrorist, who is a radical, who is someone that have radical views. You know what? One good tip to know if you want that someone in your country or not is October 7. Ask him what does he think about Hamas. If he's pro-Hamas, you don't want him. If he's pro-Palestine, most likely you don't want him. Ask someone what does he think about Yasser Arafat. If he tells you Yasser Arafat was a hero, out of here. We don't want you. He was a terrorist. Ask what they think about the Yazidi girls who are being kidnapped and butchered by ISIS. If they stop making excuses, not only by ISIS, but by al-Nusra, by a lot of radical Muslims, if they start making excuses, then you know you don't want them. There's so many cornerstones that you can check. Ask them what they think about 9/11. Ask them what they think about Israel. Most likely, if he's a Muslim and he hates Israel, you probably don't want him in your country. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an Israeli. I'm an Arab from Israel. I can tell you Israel is the best country for Arabs in the Middle East. But the fact that there is ones that want to genocide the Jews, that want river to the sea, you don't want these people in your country. There's such an easy way. It saddens me to say, but October 7 have made it very easy for the people in the West to know which Muslims they want and which Muslim they better not have in their countries. It's never have been so easy to spot who is an anti-Semite and who is a Nazi, who have a Nazi-like modern Muslim ideology. And here's why it's a big problem, because in Islam, it is so easy to get radicalized. And the reason for that is because the original Quran is not that different than ISIS. I'm being very serious right now. The things that Muhammad the Prophet and his warlords have done were not that different than what you see some of these terrorist groups doing when it comes to killing people, to marrying young girls, to forcing, to sex slaves, to trading, to slavery. There were so many wrong things that happened there, and Islam never really disconnected from that. So for some Muslim person, he could be a doctor, he could be your neighbor, he can just in a second switch and decide, you know what, I will connect to my roots. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna treat all the infidels just as the Quran tells me to treat the infidels. Christians, Jews, atheists, lots of atheists in Germany. And the problem is how would you know? How would you know that your neighbor, that your doctor neighbor is not gonna switch one day and decide he wanna go Allahu Akbar on you? How do you know that? How do you know that? I can tell you one thing. You can probably most surely know that your Jewish neighbor is not going to do that. He's not going to go and drive his car into a Christmas market, and most likely your Christian neighbor as well. Worst case, he might give you bagels for Christmas or even invite you to his house to have gefilte fish. It's not tasty. I'm telling you right now, as an Arab, we have yummy food. My mom makes the best food. Some of this Jewish food out there is, it's negotiable. It's negotiable. Leave it that way. But that's the worst that can happen. But with a Muslim neighbor, it's problematic. It is problematic. And Europe is in serious trouble. That reminds me of a story. One time I was flying a connecting flight, a layover in Turkey, in Istanbul. As I was in the airport, I kid you not, I sent my best friend a message. I told him, listen, man, I am pissed. I don't feel safe here. And it pisses me off that my safety is in the hand of these amateur security people in this airport, which all of them are Muslims also. How do I know that none of them did not decide he want to radicalize himself that morning and want to poison the food in the airplane or want to sabotage the airplane? How would I know that they did not allow someone to smuggle bombs and explosives into the airport because they believe in that ideology, because they chose to become radicalized and to connect again to the Muslim roots of the origin Quran? And I was feeling unsafe. I literally told him, listen, man, I don't feel safe here. So what I did is I started getting away from crowded areas in the airport, and I was just looking around. And I'm not a paranoid person. I'm actually a very chilled person. Sometimes too carefree. But in that case, I just felt something was wrong. I sent that message to my friend. I go on the airplane. While I was on the airplane, my mom called the embassy. My friend was calling everywhere. Apparently, half an hour after my flight took off, or immediately after, there was a suicide bombing attack, a terrorist attack in that airport where they entered, they blew some explosives, and they started shooting people in the airport where I was in Istanbul. And that is my point when it comes to radical Islam. It's very hard to know who is not radical and who is radical. Absolutely, majority, I hope, kind of are not radical, but there's many who are, and it's gonna be almost impossible for the European person to identify. And most likely, the person who is radical is gonna have a very easy job to trick you to believe he's not radical. he's going to have a very easy job to convince these students that he's the victim, that he is just a poor person, that Israel and America and Germany are the bad guys. You know what? There's this guy in Syria, and I mentioned in one of my videos, I can't say his name because for his own safety, but he just sent me this. I shared this one with a friend who lives in Germany. That's a story that my friend Moshe sent me about the attack in Germany. Who lives in Germany close to the attack area. And instead of feeling bad for the victims, he was saying, even if he's Muslim, the attacker, the blame is on the Germans, on the German government, for allowing some types of weed and drugs which makes people always mentally ill and do such things. Now this guy is a Muslim, that's a Syrian Muslim living in Germany. A typical Muslim, he would blame anything but the teachings that's been behind the majority of terrorist attacks in the past few decades. As he's a Muslim, he said, yes, Syrian. I thought he was a German leftist. They tend to be blind toward radical Islam. He said, yes, I know. Whenever you mention anything about these teachings, they say Islamophobic. These are Muslims, former Muslims, Middle Easterns, telling Europe, stop using that word Islamophobic to silence and shy and scare people from telling you, from warning you about a very dangerous reality that you have brought into Germany. It's really bad how Germany and UK have become the last few years, and they keep getting upset on me for making them, and make me feel uncomfortable when I try to warn them. Anyway, guys, my point is, unless Germany wake up and do what it needs to be done, which is not going to be easy, Germans will never feel safe again going to Christmas markets. In general, going to Christmas, and it's just going to get worse. These things don't get better. Radical Islam does not de-escalate by itself. It only escalates. That's what we've seen in every Muslim country. There's a research that was made, and it says like this: the moment that the Muslim population reaches over 30% in your country, there's no turning back. That country identity is doomed. It's gonna become a Sharia law, it's gonna become a Muslim country, and most likely it's gonna become a very dark place to live in. So don't say we didn't warn you. Either way, guys, I hope you found today's video beneficial. It's already, oh my God, it's 1 in the morning, and yep, I'm here making videos for you. If you do like my content, feel free to leave a comment, do the whole shebang, the like, share, subscribe, do everything. And if you want to help this channel keep growing, if you want to help me keep making more videos for you, because after all, I am doing this for free and out of my own free time, go and check my Patreon where you can find direct, practical ways to support my work. But until then, guys, don't do anything stupid. And in general, why do I have water here? And in general, just don't do anything that I would do. Actually, we started a tradition in this channel that I need to give some kind of word of wisdom in the end. So here's something for you. I remember one time when I was in the Special Forces, in the training, I had a friend of mine who was an American Israeli soldier with me in the same unit. And we were doing a special training about anti-terrorism, counter-terrorism with explosives and etc. How to defuse explosives as they come in your way. And as we were training, we were tying the ropes. You know, these things are always tangled. I've never seen headphones like this that doesn't get tangled automatically. Anyway, so we were doing the tying of the ropes or of the cords, and it was a training. So, you know, we didn't really have to do it properly, and I was kind of just slacking in it, and he just came and put his hand on me, and he just told me, Mansour, why are you compromising? And I told him, it's just a training, man. This is not the real thing. Like, we got to do this 100 times. And he came in and he gave me a sentence that went for life with me. He looked me in the eyes and he said, the compromises of today are the standards of tomorrow. Remember that. And I loved that humbling, beautiful message. The compromising of today are the standards of tomorrow. And in so many aspects in life, that is so true. The moment you start compromising, and then you do it again and again, it becomes a standard. And then the next time you're going to compromise more and more and more. And there's things in life you don't want to compromise about. Family, values, ethics, discipline, faith, your personal walk with God or with your inner beliefs. These are things you don't want to compromise. Education with your children. The moment that you start letting your children, I'm just going to let them sit on this tablet now for like 2 hours because I want to work. the next day, it's going to become a standard. And then you're going to say, okay, 2 hours is the maximum. And then it becomes 3 hours, 4 hours. And then before you know, your kid is a zombie looking at the screen and he doesn't have the creativity, he doesn't have this. He can't control and regulate his emotions. And there's just so many bad things that can happen when we compromise. So that is a good one. That is a good one. I would like to give you the compromises of today are the standard of tomorrow. Do not compromise and just, yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, guys, hope you stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. And I really hope that we won't hear any more bad news in this Christmas. Merry Christmas, Merry Hanukkah, and yeah, see you next time.